This technology that we have right now, if it's used in the right format, it creates a lever that allows you to go further than you have been able to do so far. And if you're not doing that, your competitor is. Somebody comes in and orders 10,000 bottles, and suddenly you have 10,000 bottles delivered. So that lack of basic assertions, it's what's causing some of these projects to fail. Are we in the tipping point of that curve? Honestly, who knows, right?
Yeah.
But we are past the time where we can put our heads under under the blanket and ignore it's happening. I think that's definitely sure for me.
We talk about agents and automation and all these things, but what does this mean for the humans then in the organization? Hello everybody, warm welcome to this S&OP MasterClass from Roima. My name is Søren Hammer Pedersen and I'll be your host for today's session. The purpose of these S&OP Masterclasses is that we dive into a trending topic within supply chain, try to give you our perspective on these exciting matters and hopefully give you something that you can use in your working life in your company. Today's topic is no different. If you have been to any event the last months, you will have heard Agentic all the time. And Agentic AI in supply chain is a very fast developing area and something that we as professionals need to be very aware of. And as always, you are in luck that I'm not alone in the studio. I brought a good friend of mine, Rafael, which is an expert in this area in supply chain who will help us cast a light on this topic today. Welcome, Rafael, to this podcast.
Thanks so much, Søren. Great to be here.
Thank you. And Rafael, before we get into the actual topic of today, this is the first time in the masterclass from you. So for the listeners out there, maybe a brief introduction. Who is Rafael?
Thanks so much. Yes, so I've been listening. I am a subscriber to the podcast. I really enjoy all the content. So I'm super happy to be here. So I'm Rafael. I had the engineering of Roima, one of the products in Roima called TilliT. My background is in manufacturing technology. So I've been doing manufacturing technology for over 20 years now, I dare say. Half of that time was supply chain oriented, planning, optimization, and the other half was a lot to do with execution. So manufacturing execution systems and all those, getting production happening.
Nice. And of course, your background in terms of this podcast is also that the agentic AI and supply chain is something that you actually work quite a lot with at the moment.
Yes, correct. As a software developer, keeping an eye on the trends, making sure that we are at the edge. Obviously, since I started working with optimization and all the way now to the levels of AI intelligence we have with LLM models, I've been keeping up to date and using that not just to deliver value to the customer, but also internally. So, yeah, I dare say I'm a pro user of all those tools.
Sounds great. But let's dive into the topic, this agentic AI in supply chain. And before we get into all the definitions and things like that, maybe just for the listeners again out there, why is it so important for us to care as professionals within supply chain at the moment for this?
I think that I would start phrasing in a way that it's really around the opportunity we have right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've always tried to make our operations work faster, leaner, better, increase our bottom line, decrease our cost. And we've always used tools, such as IBP as a tool, processes, analytics, dashboards. These are all been used throughout the time for us to get, a better outcome as a business. This technology that we have right now, if it's used in the right format, it creates a lever that allows you to go further than you have been able to do so far. So why would you care? Is because it's basically creating a next level opportunity for you to increase your business. And if you're not doing that, your competitor is.
So it would be fair enough to say that we had one wave of AI in supply chain already, for instance, or let's generate better forecasting with the AI, and now we're actually facing another wave of really where the agents come in.
That's it. And if you think about generating better forecasting, it's really around controlling the things that you can control, right? We always talk about independent demand, meaning it's demand from the customer that you don't have control over. So you're using technology to reduce variability. You're using technology to be more ascertain on your plan. But the reality is that we have uncertainty everywhere around us, in the execution, in the suppliers. And what we're uncovering with this new model is a way to understand your scenario, your environment, based on your data set, in a way that physically or humanly, it's really hard to do. So as humans, we can look at a dashboard of forecast accuracy, and we can say, okay, I can see a Pareto here that's telling me that I have this group of products that are not great. But can you actually correlate that with weather, with something that happened with your supplier, with something that happened with a particular, a sales account manager? So once you start to go into like this multidimensional analysis is when we as humans, we tap out. And we see the AI coming in as a booster to our capability of delivering value.
Yeah, so it's really about, before we were using AI to improve what we already were doing, but now we're actually taking a leap. And I think the interesting point there for me is also, at least when I talk to companies, also that there has been some frustration with AI so far, in the sense that we all know that we should do something, but where are the tangible results? But it is also something that's coming now.
I think that, listen, we have a tool. AI is just this tool called large language model. It has its limitations. It has its capabilities. And even though every day we have a new model that increases the capability, it still has some sort of inherent limitation that they haven't been able to remove yet, which is it can get it wrong.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So the moment that you can get it wrong, even if it's 10% wrong, the moment that it's really hard for you to be certain to automate a full end-to-end process, right? Yeah. So that means that a lot of the frustration comes from the fact that you see all these attempts to, say, automate a full cash registry or ordering system, and then somebody comes in and orders 10,000 bottles, and suddenly you have 10,000 bottles delivered.
Yes.
So that lack of basic assertions, it's what's causing some of these projects to fail. That said, if you find the right way to use it, and if you find the right sweet spot in terms of both use case and methodology to implement it, then you can actually get amazing results. So it's a combination, in my opinion, of finding the right use case and then attaching that to the right methodology to implement. So that's why it's not so trivial.
Yeah. Okay. Great. But I think the main conclusion is people should care. So that's a good starting point. But let's maybe go into a bit of the definition, because, as I said, people, they hear agentic all the time. So in your words, this agentic AI and agentic AI in supply chain, what is it exactly?
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, you might hear different definitions. Okay.
yeah.
To be honest, I think that if there is one true Wikipedia level definition, I think that even different service providers will actually have a. So I'll give you mine.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I think that when you start using these tools, from the fundamental of how the tool works, you realize that a lot of the time it's just a matter of having a bunch of text in and getting a bunch of text out. Okay. That's what the language model is doing. It's inferring, doing that next token, probabilistic. What's the best next token? Okay, yeah. Fundamentally, that's it. So when we started using ChatGPT at the start, if you remember, it would just say, okay, you ask a question, and then it will take a little, and then it will reply with a question.
Yes.
If without an answer. If we start using nowadays something like, Gemini, Claude, what you notice is that you ask a question and start saying, oh, let me look at this website. Oh, let me go in here and look at Google Maps. So what's happening under the hood is that you're still sending text to the LLM and you're still getting text back, but the text back is saying, would you mind visiting the website and telling me what's there? And then the tool, it goes through this tool calling loop.
Yeah.
So the agentic comes in when you start introducing these tools. Okay. So it comes in when you're developing the software and say, okay, I want to be able to query data. I want to be able to, send an email. I want to be able to. So the moment you start giving tools to this agent, this AI, is when you're going through this agentic loop.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, the leap between just an LLM and this kind of agentic LLM is that instead of you having to feed all that input of data for the LLM to give you a result, which then becomes 100% probabilistic, meaning you can get the right answer, you can get the wrong answer, you start getting the AI to navigate through the tools available to give you what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a big conceptual difference there, and the result is quite different.
Yeah. So it's actually the autonomous element coming in, that it actually gets an assignment, but instead of just giving an answer, it actually works extensively on the assignment.
And then when you start heading that direction, you start hitting other technological challenges, because now if you start giving too many of these tools to the AI, you start going to a place of security uncertainty, right? So that means that if you give too much tools, then you go into a kind of a dark zone of the AI could actually do something that you don't want it to do.
Yeah.
That's the risk.
Yeah. And I guess also the difference is that here we not giving them a simple task, but we're actually giving them a goal instead.
That's 100%. So again, if I ask, okay, what is my on time in full, then that's a request and a reply. But then when you say, okay, how do I increase my on time in full? Then you start setting up a goal, right? And then you start having the AI kind of go through iterations and try to kind of find out how to reach that goal.
Yeah.
I think that changes a little bit the game of what you can do with the tool.
Yeah. And also, I guess, a difference in, you can call it timing or how it works, because I guess it's on the frequency as well. While you're sleeping at home, you can actually have it working for you.
Yeah, depending on how deep the analysis goes, it will take time, right?
Yeah.
Again, if we are thinking on solving the chatbot experience, you want something immediate. If you want something immediate, you can't allow the AI to go through this loop of calling tools over and over to get to the bottom of the answer, right? Because you want the result now. So that balance between, and this is what I meant in the beginning of the conversation was, do you have the right use case and do you have the right methodology? Because it's at the moment it's quite difficult for us to get the level of detail and depth that would give you the value that I'm proposing that you can get, but also have it snapped, So there's a balance of what you're trying to achieve with the tool.
Yeah. So you're saying you actually need, of course, to be very, very aware of what you're asking and how you're asking, what information you provide, because it's the pitfall might be here that it's crazy easy to ask something.
And the best way to understand your boundaries or understand what could look like or what you should ask or not is kind of go back to first principles and understand what the tool is doing. That's why I started with. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, it's tokens in, tokens out. So now it's around, okay, how do I treat the tokens in, right? And how do I use the tokens out? So for instance, if you select a whole table, right? And then you just dump that into the AI because it can take 1 million tokens as an input. that's not a great idea.
No.
Because now you're getting that probabilistic method to come up with the solution. So you see how, depending on what you're trying to do, it fundamentally, you might hit a wall there, and you might get into that hallucination world, and you might get into that, unpredictable result world, which is what it's been kind of frustrating people.
Yeah, understandable. Okay, but let's talk a bit about, Rafael, how this, where we are today on this, and then afterwards maybe go into some concrete examples. But starting with, we have this wave coming, or we are in the wave, or how we should put it. Just on the development of this agentic AI, where do you see we are, and where are we heading within, I'm not saying years here, but it's probably moving faster than that.
Yeah, I think definitely for me, the biggest tipping point was probably December, January.
Yeah.
That's when, especially for the world of coding, that idea of asking the AI to do something, and probabilistically you would get a 70% chance of it succeeding. Suddenly it start getting to like 90% of it succeeding.
Yeah.
So that changed the game in terms of what we can ask for the LLM and what we're getting. So now, as we speak, we just got a new model from Anthropic, and it keeps getting better, and it's quite interesting to see the evolution. So are we in the tipping point of that curve? Honestly, who knows, right?
Yeah.
But we are past the time where we can put our heads under under the blanket and ignore it's happening. I think that's definitely sure for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the scary and crazy interesting part is that it's not like, okay, what did I do 5 years ago? That's interesting to think about, but just compare what did you do 3 months ago, and there you see a notably different world.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I feel like I still strongly believe in the whole idea of it's empowering people, right? So it's empowering developers, it's empowering analysts, it's empowering, and it should be empowering business to achieve their objectives. And if the business objective is to grow, have less cost, higher efficiencies, then we should really try to use this tool to drive that.
And I guess it's fair to say that where we are now also in supply chain is really, it's very mature around like the investigations and finding things in the data and presenting in a good way But are there other areas that you see that are here now and that's going to be very useful?
Yeah, the other thing, I think for sure, right? So the whole idea of empowering the people, right? Thinking about the personas, and you have a planner. They used to take, hours to run a report to understand, where should they focus their time. Be able to give them a tool to just query with plain language and get the report immediately. That's empowering that person, right? Where we started to do a lot is, build these high detail analysis across the whole, factory data set. And we started to do that in order to help out the management. Because what happens, you have the hierarchy of the company, the factory, and it's always a bubble up of issues and problems to solve, all the way to people that are there to prioritize, right? Yeah. To prioritize initiatives, to prioritize focus and investment. So if we're able to build, deep analysis to help them flush out facts and data against what's happening in their factory, that's a great value add for that plant manager, for that supply chain manager to work with.
Yeah.
But there's way more aside from that. So, for instance, when I started my career, I was working a lot with optimization, right? And we would have to spend a lot of money in order to buy a solver to use, right? Because in order for us to build a solver, you would need the highest possible level of data scientists to be able to, write that, because it was extremely sophisticated. Well, guess what? Nowadays, the high complexity challenges can be solved now with some of these tools. Mm-hmm. So now you start to think about the unblocking of, like you said in the beginning, demand forecasting.
Yeah.
The same story. High complexity to solve used to be extremely hard and require you to hire PhDs to solve. Now you can solve it because these tool does really good job at high complexity problems. Mm. Supply chain optimization, whether it's production planning or scheduling, same story. Mm-hmm. You can actually deliver those engines, those brains, in a short amount of time, in a feasible amount of time. So it changes a little bit the game there. Again, repeating myself a little bit, but it's kind of what is the use case you're trying to do.
Yeah.
If you tell the AI, give me the best supply chain plan right now, feasible, and you just dump all the data to the LLM, it's not going to work. But if you get the LLM to write a solver, you might have something there.
Yeah. And maybe a related question also, if we look a bit into the future, how far away are we from the actually execution?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to believe very much, again, it's how you do the execution. So will the LLM get to a level of precision and accuracy that you can just close your eyes and it will just work? I don't know, right? I don't know if anybody knows. There are some people that are betting that the more data sets you put, the closer you get to that, right?
Yeah.
But there are some people that think that conceptually speaking, because it's a probabilistic model, then you might not get to the level of that you need. But what I've been seeing the accuracy grow really, really, really high is on the coding level. So be able to code, right? So if you start to think about the execution, or maybe that automatic execution being driven by, algorithms and heuristics that were built by the AI, based on, our definition of business objectives, based on that deep analysis that I was talking about, where it's driving parameters that needs to be respected. That looks very, very feasible.
Yeah.
So now you're going to a phase of, okay, you have the LLM to help you digest data by using Agentic in order to navigate through the data. Because remember, pitfall, throwing all that data into the context. That's not going to work.
No.
But having the Agentic write its own path and exploring the data, great. Having the Agentic to understand a goal, stock out. I want to reduce it.
Yes.
And then going out and finding why are you having, and then setting up parameters in order to drive a heuristic to then automatically change things as things happen. I believe in that.
Mm. Yeah. And don't you also agree that it's a fair point that we can't wait, again, coming back a bit to the execution part of it, that we can't wait until it's 100%, because people make mistakes as well.
Yeah.
So everywhere in your planning, in your execution today, there are mistakes all over. That's just the nature of the game. So if we all wait till the AI is absolutely perfect, that's probably too late to start.
No, that's 100% true. We humans, we make mistakes all the time. So let's say, for instance, if your accuracy is 90%, and let's say the accuracy of the AI gets to 95%, should you use that, or should you keep it with your 90%?
Yeah.
And throughout the operation itself and all the systems, there are gates, right? So there's a release gate, there is an execution gate, there is actually, so thinking about what is the consequence of the mistake and error, and having the right, guardrails as well to highlight, I think that's something that needs to be really thought through and assessed.
Yeah. Nice. Maybe also as well here, so of course it's a bit abstract when we're talking about it now. It's on a high level, people know what you do. Maybe we should also try to give a few examples of, maybe using Roima as an example here, where are the user cases at the moment for the agentic AI within all these different planning disciplines?
Yeah. So our AI journey across all the portfolio of Roima has been, going really well, and we started doing a lot of those kind of chatbots that helps both on, understanding what you have, asking the data, talking to the data. So maybe asking, okay, what was my forecast accuracy last month? Give me analysis of where are my hotspots and what should I do. So this has a big impact on just empowering that user, like I was mentioning. And then, but then we started to go into also a deeper direction, especially with the new tool called Aura. And what Aura does is a bit more sophisticated, in which that we give more power to the tool, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're having a chatbot that asks your data, essentially you're just giving access to the data. The AI is formatting a query and giving the result. What we gave Aura is the power of the developer. Okay, mm-hmm. So what Aura is doing is writing essentially code and executing that code in order to derive those analyses. That means that it has access to things like statistical analysis, deep tool set in the Python ecosystem to actually run PhD level analysis on your data, right?
Yeah.
Now, for that to work, we had to, build this tool from the ground up with security in mind. Mm-hmm. So that's non-negotiable, right?
Yes.
Because once you release that amount of power to these tools, then the risk that you expose is significantly higher. But then we start to get real life results. So I was just having a conversation yesterday with one of our customers that are using this tool, and where we are measuring the success is, did you change your process? Did you talk to your employees? Did you act on what the system told you? Mm. And the answer is hell yeah. Because it's one of those things where it's flushing out first. It's flushing out things that they haven't thought about or they weren't paying attention to. Mm-hmm. Because the amount of data that we're surrounded to is just mind-blowing, right? Think about what an ERP has. Think about an IBP planning has. The amount of rows, records, columns. Like, we have to do all these groupings and line charts, but under the hood, there's so much there that we're simplifying because we're building tools for humans, right? Once you open up that to an AI that can run, like you said, while you're sleeping, run for hours on a speed that is 10 times faster than we in parallel. So suddenly you start flushing out things that you haven't thought about. And then you take those and you realize, oh my God, I was missing out because I never correlated this with that. Mm. I had my dashboard looking at this, I had my dashboard looking at that, but I never had them talking to each other. Yeah. So then they realize that what the system is telling is legit. It's a proper insight, and they're taking action on it. So it's really incredible to see it played out. And the way we built Aura is exactly that. It's as if you hired a team of 5 specialists, right? That means a forecast specialist that you hired in your team, mm-hmm. Stock optimization specialist that you hire in your team, and then suddenly you have them in your team now. Now, you can't afford that. That's why you don't have it. Yeah. But the power of the LLM means that, you can afford that now, right? So what is the result if you had that team? Well, the result would be the team investigating what's going on and coming up with these reports. And then these reports bubbling up all the way to the management team and saying, okay, I see that this is the fact. Let's act it. Let's act on it to make sure that we gain that improvement.
Yeah. And there is a huge difference compared to what we have done before, because we didn't have that agent
I think
element of it.
Well, that's it, right? So
Yeah.
first, with a simple chatbot, you just can't get the level of precision. So the most you could do is empower that one analyst that you already have, right?
Yeah.
You're not simply cloning that analyst 5 times and getting 5 times more. So that's the difference. Besides, how many customers do you have that have 5 data scientists with PhD level?
Yeah.
So
Good luck finding them.
That's another thing, and this is why we built Aura, right?
Yeah.
And we built Aura because throughout these 20 years, I built systems of planning, supply chain, and execution that gather all that database.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at the database and you look at the reports that are getting generated and used out of the database. And it's a very thin slice of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Right? So then you're like, okay, we build a system. The system is great for a system of record and doing these simple reports, but nobody's taking advantage of that richness. And people say, data is the oil, is the gold. Nobody has shovels, right? So because these companies, they don't have the 60 data scientists that Uber has, for instance, or more than 60, I bet, that are building all these. They don't have it. So that means that they don't take advantage of it. And then we realize that if we build the right tool to bring that team of data scientists, business analysts, specialists, and just have the report generated, fact-based, that we can make a big difference. Yeah. So, and we're seeing this happening, and it's quite incredible.
Yeah. I think the interesting is that we have this, you can call it general technology with Aura, which is overarching, applied to the specific areas within, but working across the whole system. And that's almost mind-blowing for me, because then it becomes really valuable.
It is, because you see, part of the Roima's vision has been the digital thread, right? So we have an IBP tool called Pareto. We have a PLM tool. We have an MES tool, WMS tools, right? And the concept is that for one company, we have all these data silos, but we have one company. That means that the customer that ordered had a truck that was managed by WMS, that had a product that was produced by the MES, and it had that product used a raw material that the inventory was planned by the supply chain. So everything's connected, right? Yet all these silos and the teams are also in silos. They can't see the other side of the fence, right? So this is why Aura made so much sense in the Roima vision, because we already have the portfolio tools that allows us to have a data layer, right? That bridges those silos. So we build Aura as something that sits next to all these tools, and we have it running on Aton, which is the PLM. We have it running on Lean, which is the WMS for discrete. We have it running on TilliT, that the MES for process. And it is able to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And that's probably something quite unique.
Yeah. Crazy interesting. Last point I think I want to come around here is because we talk about agents and automation and all these things. But what does this mean for the humans then in the organization?
Yeah, I mean, there are talks about layoffs and replacements. So far, the tools that we've built, they are really empowering the users. Okay, so I strongly believe that if you're working for a company, you want the success of that company. If you're able to increase the amount of value that you provide to that company, then you're a happy employee. So that's what these tools are doing. They are just beefing up your capability of delivering value to your company.
Yeah. And I also think that it's so interesting because I think the individual person now is seeing the value because they feel like it's not something out there, like far away, doing something in a black box. They actually use it in their daily life and see the value it creates. Exactly a lot of positive energy also, beside, of course, the layoff stories. But let's see how that ends. This was very, very interesting, Rafael. Thank you so much for joining in to this session. We're going to talk more on this, but I hope that this could give some perspective on where we are and where we're heading with this very interesting thing. So thank you for your time here today.
It was a pleasure.
And also thank you to you listening out there. As always, we try to give you our perspective of this, but if you want to know more on how could this be in my specific situation, you're always more than welcome to check out Roima, check out our website, contact Rafael or me to know more. We will be happy to hear from you. Otherwise, just a little teaser for the next episode coming up of the podcast, because we are not done talking about the agentic AI. Next time, we will talk about what it actually looks like in manufacturing. So diving into a very specific area on where this Aura technology can help on the daily level executing the manufacturing in a company. So please dial in for that one as well. We would love to have you there. And otherwise, have a good day out there. Thank you.